Good morning and welcome to our Sunday School lesson for today. Sunday, December the 6th, we begin a new quarter of lessons from Unit 1, 2, and 3, and the lesson unit we're beginning of a call. We want to welcome all of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church members and friends to Antioch Baptist Church in Tunnel Springs, Alabama, 364-71251-564-2174. The church where everybody is somebody and Christ is the head. Sister Lisa Stahl is our clerk. Our First Lady, Miss Joyce Oliver. We have Sunday school every Sunday. And since the pandemic, we have been doing virtual Sunday school by internet. And you can find a link at the church website, as well as on our worship services on 2nd, 4th, and 5th Sundays at 8:30 a.m., where Brother Corey Robinson, our musician, broadcasts the services. Before we begin today, Sister Ernestine Howard, brother has been missing, Brother Richardson. We want to say the words of hers is hello to family and friends. Social media is a wonderful way to communicate in a positive way. I just want to thank each of you for your thoughts of well-being for my brother, as well as your continued prayers. We, his siblings, nephews, sons, brothers-in-laws, and others, searching diligently for him. Willie, that was yesterday, to no avail. Now, before I close this post, I must say that my church family held a prayer vigil for our family this afternoon at the close of our search for today, hosted by the Antioch matrons and deacons. It was uplifting, powerful prayers, singing. We cannot thank you all enough. This is my church and my family community. Love you all. You touched us this evening. May God bless each of you today, tomorrow, and always in some form or fashion. That was from Brother Willie's sister Ernestine Howard in regards to the search that was conducted yesterday afternoon at the church at 4 p.m. All right. Let us begin the Sunday school lesson for today. We begin a new quarter. The quarter at a glance will be the lesson for this quarter focus on God calling individuals to specific ministries according to his plan. Those called include John the Baptist, the wise men, Jesus' parents, and most of all, Jesus himself. The final unit focused on women in the New Testament who were called to vocation of service to God's people. The New Testament sees a broad calling of all people to salvation and a narrow calling of certain individuals to specific ministries in the church. The calls were for people to join God's plan, not for God to join theirs. December the 6th, which is today's opening lesson, coming from calls in the New Testament, called to be heirs. Then we have December the 13th, called to be Emmanuel. December the 20th, called to worship. December the 27th, called to prepare. Then Unit 2, Jesus calls in his ministries, called to proclaim. That's in January the 10th, called to follow. January the 7th, call in authority. January the 24th, call for the world's belief. And then the final unit 3, the call of women, call to prophecy. That's in January the 31st. February the 2nd, call to testify. February the 14th, call to support. February the 21st, call to explain. February the 28th, call to service. These are the lessons in this series. And this series that we're going to be dealing with as we turn to begin the lesson for December the 1st, December the 6th is called Call to Be Heirs. Call to Be Heirs. The devotional reading comes from Psalms 102, 12:22. The background scripture comes from Matthew, the first chapter, verses 1 through 17. Hebrews 1. That is for today's lesson. The key verse for today's lesson: God had in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he has appointed heirs of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. Hebrews 1 and 2. It's a powerful lesson for today. After participating in this lesson, each learner will be able to recall key names of the lineage of Jesus, those that's in Jesus' family, explain why Jesus' heritage was central to his mission on earth. Number 3, state way to improve knowledge of his or her spiritual heritage in Jesus. And you will find out there were all kinds of people in the heritage and the lineage of Jesus Christ. Good, bad, and ugly as well. But God, just like all the people in the world, everybody in your family lineage and heritage is not perfect either. And God uses everybody and can use anybody. All right. We'll begin with Matthew, the first chapter, verses 1 through 6, 16 through 17. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Verse 2, Abraham begets Isaac, and Isaac begets Jacob, and Jacob begets Judas and his brethren. Verse 3, and Judas beget Phares and Zerah of Tamar, and Phares beget Erison, and Erison beget Aaron, and Aaron begets Amminadab, and Amminadab begets Naasson, and Naasson begets Salmon, and Salmon begets Boaz of Jacob, and Boaz begets Obed of Ruth, and Obed begets Jesse, and Jesse begets David the king, and David the king begets Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah. These are some of the direct kinfolks and kins and brothers of Jesus. And Jacob begets Joseph, the husband of Mary, and whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon into Christ are 14 generations. And then Hebrews, the next outline, Hebrews, the first chapter, verses 1 through 5. The next outline, God at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. Has in these last days, this is verse 2, has in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he had appointed heirs of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. Who being the brightness of his glory, this is verse 3, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majestic on high. All right, being made so much better than the angels, verse 4, being made so much better than the angels, as he had by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. Verse 5, for unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. Those are the scriptures for today's lesson. Called to be heirs. Called to be heirs. All right. The introduction. Who am I? Heritage connects people to the past and provides roots for understanding themselves in understanding themselves in the larger word. In my case, my Italianness was always an important part of my self-identity. Growing up, it helped me to understand that I shared a history with millions of other people, a history that began long before I was born. I felt this connection despite being adopted by a non-Italian family with no discernible Italian influences. That reminds you of your own personal identity as to who you are. regardless of what color or what race you are. There is a many and millions of people in your lineage that goes back beyond your time. Both Matthews and the writer of Hebrews concerns themselves with Jesus' heritage. In that regard, the focus remained on God's work in a specific family to bring about his purpose. Also, Jesus' divine superiority to every created being was of utmost importance to emphasize. These two writers remind us that Jesus' beginning are both humble and unimaginable glorious. Unimaginable glorious. Lesson context. Matthew's Gospel. From the exile in Babylon of 586 BC onward, Judah was rarely free of foreign powers that imposed their will on the nation. After Babylon came Persia, then Greece, and finally Rome. In about 38 BC, Rome declared Herod to be king of Judah. Herod imposed Greek and Roman cultures onto the Jews, even creating a temple to the goddess Roma in Caesarea Maritimina. The Jews despised Herod not only for these acts, but also because he wasn't Jewish by heritage and thus not a rightful king. Matthew wrote against this background, which makes his genealogy more than a list of names. It is a link to a time when David lineage held the throne, saying something important when David's line held the throne, saying something important about Jesus' birthright. The lesson in context. The book of Hebrews. Hebrews is a bit unusual. It ends with greetings like in the epistle of Hebrews 13, verses 20 through 25. Yet the beginning is unlike that of a normal letter. Contrast this opening verse with these as of Colossians and so forth. Its original readers were likely Christians of Jewish background who had been undergoing some persecution which tempted them to give up on Christianity for old ways that had been superseded. We can almost hear the original readers question the prophets, our authors to write in the chapter. We know about Jesus. We know about angels. Is Jesus as strong as they? He died. Is he powerful enough to save? The author of Hebrew was clear answers. All right. Wanderers to Cain. Abraham to Isaac. The book of generation of Jesus, the son of David, the son of Abraham. The name Jesus, David, Jesus Christ, David, and Abraham all represent turning points in Israel history. Only by looking at the covenant association with David and Abraham can a person properly understand Jesus' importance as the fulfillment of these promises. Connecting Jesus to David foreshadows the rest of Matthew's Gospel, where we learn that Jesus fulfilled the promise to David's example. Matthew 2, 20 and 21, 21 and 5. See commentary on 1:6 below. The more you know. Several years ago, my father was shaken when he found out that the man he believed to be his biological father wasn't. Sadly, the answer to his questions were buried with the few people who could have answered them. He believed he would never have a clear picture of his heritage. Today, with the help of DNA testing and hours of research, my father has identified his biological family and traced his lineage back nearly 1,000 years to William the Conqueror. He even established his legitimate claims to gain admittance into Scottish clan. Powerful words indeed. Powerful words indeed here as we continue here with today's lesson. We want you all to understand that God is absolutely and still in control, no matter what you're going through and what's taking place in your life. God is in the plan. God is absolutely in the plans in your life as well. No matter what's happening in your life, God is in that plan. God is absolutely in that plan. And we hope that you do know and understand that. The more you know. All right. All right. Matthew genealogy establishes Jesus as the